What's good, YouTube? It's your favorite anime weeb ninja making another video on an anime analysis, and today we got ZOM100 Bucket List of the Dead episode 3. And just real quick, I totally forgot this came out on Sunday, and I know I promised I was gonna make a Rent a Girlfriend video, but that's gonna be later today. I'm trying to double upload, and this time around this week I'm gonna try to make it so that these episodes come out as these videos come out as the episodes come out. And with that being said, hope you guys enjoyed. As always, stick around to the end and drop a like. Also, check my most self-appreciated video, my best video I think up to date, which is the last episode I did on Bleach. Go check that out. It's really quick. I promise you'll enjoy that one. And with that being said, let's just get into it. Alright, so the start of episode 3 starts in Shinjuku and some sort of club by a leader who owns the club, or I think is the manager. His name is Sho, who ends up having his own group of followers, basically, and they end up basically saving a bunch of survivors and fighting off the rest of the zombie horde who ends up trying to get anywhere near the club. So Sho, being the leader, basically reinforces some little girl at the beginning of the video and basically telling her to come out and everything's gonna be okay. So immediately afterwards, there's a group of zombies who end up going in front of the club, to which Sho basically ends up grabbing his group of followers, and they're basically stocked up with a bunch of Molotovs, bats, and all of the things they can want to basically end up fighting off the zombies. And he ends up basically leads them into battle, shouting to the followers that they have to fight with all they've got to basically save all the survivors that are left inside. Akira spends a good amount of his morning basically inside of his house, seemingly just messing around with his phone, trying to contact whoever he can, and to see basically who's alive and who's not. And again, finding a contact of an old friend that he used to play rugby with in college named Kencho, basically just tries to call him and contact him after having some flashbacks of him and the good times that they had. There's a slight flashback where we cut to Kencho, and he ends up being trapped in a brothel with a chained up zombie to the side, which again, it's explained that while he was drunk before the whole zombie apocalypse happened, he was drunk and ended up choosing a BDSM room, so there's a bunch of chains everywhere and stuff like that. If you're not old enough, then you probably won't understand, but let's just move on. Slowly losing his mind, he's thinking of Akira and has a flashback of them playing rugby in college, to which again Akira ends up being really jacked, which is quite surprising. Again, Kensho ends up getting the phone call he ends up picking up, and he basically ends up revealing that he's in Shinjuku. Presumably he ends up telling him that he's stuck where he is, because it's not really specified how Akira actually knows, but I guess they just kind of skipped over that because it wasn't exactly saying that he was stuck in the brothel, but he somehow knew. Anyways, moving along, while on his way to save Kensho, Akira remembers all the fond memories they had while in the rugby team and how much of a clown he actually was. But also, immediately after, remembers the very last time that they had a drink together, and which ended in the fight with basically Kensho bragging pretty much about his whole entire life, how he got rich being a real estate seller or something like that, like basically selling houses or something, and essentially dating models, and basically how fabulous his life was. And Akira basically being depressed about how exploitative his company that he worked for was. Obviously, him being down kind of just made him mad that he was basically bragging about his whole life. Meanwhile, he was basically suffering. It was kind of like a low blow to his ego there, and essentially he gets really pissed off and basically snaps on him, basically taking all his anger out on him, and essentially they just part ways immediately afterwards, never to be talked to again for a whole year, essentially. Immediately after arriving in Shinjuku, he enacts his plan, and he ends up taping the rugby ball to a car horn, which coincidentally ends up shaving Sho moments away from dying from his own followers that had been turned into zombies. While all the zombies are immediately drawn to the sound of the horn blaring from the car, he ends up hiding inside of a water fountain nearby, right outside the brothel where his friend is. Immediately after Akira ends up fighting Kensho after scaring him, he goes full bizarre mode and starts yelling at the top of his lungs, basically saying that how he's sorry and how he should have just listened to him and he should have just quit his job from the beginning, like he said, and basically starts saying that he's sorry for taking it all out on him, even though it wasn't his fault. He was just depressed because of the job, like I stated earlier. Essentially, all the zombies in the surrounding area end up hearing Akira's in a touching moment as he cries out, saying that he's sorry to Kensho. The zombies end up chasing them all the way and forcing them to the rooftop, to which they have to barricade the doors using the AC units that are there. Kensho, scared, clearly, ends up asking what's the next move. And just when I thought Akira couldn't be any stupider, he goes super bizarro mode. And it suggests that they jump across to the other side of the street into the building, saying that it's low enough that they can make it. And again, I say super bizarro mode because there's literally a building next to them, which I show a picture of, and there's like a little ledge where I'm pretty sure they can clear that jump, which is much closer, and it wouldn't be so much of a risk. But Akira, being hard-headed, ends up running and makes it across to the other side. And yeah, he ends up getting hurt, but he still makes it. And to which Kensho ends up saying, man, he has balls of steel. He probably can't make that jump. And he ends up being frozen still, and he ends up basically confessing to Akira, basically seemingly giving up and saying that he apologizes, that he was being a bad friend to Akira, stating that he didn't actually mean to gloat to his face, that the only reason he really did it is because he actually hated his life and his job, because he had to lie to multiple people just so that he can, you know, make a quick buck from his job being a real estate agent, basically lying to the face. And it states that he really didn't like doing that, that he felt disgusted even doing that, and his true passion in life was to become a stand-up comedy, which is why in the flashbacks when they're playing rugby you see him naked and making his peers laugh, is because that was his true goal in life, is to, you know, be a stand-up comedy. And essentially Akira is just basically telling him, just go for it, take the leap of faith, and, you know, be a comic now. There's no time like the present. There's apocalypse going on. What else is there to do than do the things that you love, which is again the premise of the whole show. To which Kensho basically gives in and ends up, you know, backing up so they can make that jump. To which, you know, I'm pretty sure he didn't have enough space because the zombies end up breaking through the door and closely follow behind them. And as he goes for the jump, he ends up ripping off his clothes, as that's basically his shtick, his funny go-to. And taking a page from the Bizarro book, basically ends up being naked as he jumps, and Akira is just laughing at him. But he barely makes it through the skin of his teeth as he is hanging on for dear life on the edge of the building. And Akira's there laughing his balls off, as, you know, again, Kensho is basically slipping to his death, which is surprisingly, I don't know why he took so long. I guess he was just dying and wasn't really paying attention. But he basically ends up letting go because he slips, and Akira basically grabbing onto him on the last second, which I thought Kensho was actually going to fall to his death, which is surprisingly. I thought that would have been really out of left field and very surprising if that actually happened. But anyways, he does pull him up, and now the funniest scene in this episode is when he pulls him up, Kensho actually starts crying because he actually grazed his nutsacks on the fucking ledge of the building, which I thought was hilarious. And then basically after that, a couple hours pass, and, you know, there's just two bros at the end of the episode chilling on the top of the roof, chugging beers, and full nude with their, you know, their sacks basically hanging out, slanging that thing. And yeah, basically that's how the episode ends, and it's shown that Akira actually completes one of his goals that he wrote down on the previous video, or previous episode. I keep saying video. But if you guys enjoyed this video, if you guys like what I did, consider checking my best video up to date that I've made so far. Even I'd recommend it more than this video, which is my previous Bleach video on Bankai's, them being back. So go check that out. I highly recommend it. I know you guys will enjoy that one. And with that being said, hope you guys enjoyed this one as well. Support the channel by leaving a comment, gets me more views, gets it to more people, and also Follow me on Twitch, AmaterasuNinja, same name as this channel. And hope you guys have a wonderful day. And as always, peace out. Deuces.